Oh,
There goes Sean's camera.
damn, he's having all sorts of technical difficulties. There we go.
Yeah, hopefully my mic keeps up for the whole thing.
We get proper
Yeah, you sound good
controls.
now, to be honest. You sound like super crispy and like bassy even.
Control works.
Sick.
All right. WSHD shed time all the time. All right. Well, I think it's about that time. Shall we get into this here podcast, gents?
Yeah, dude, I'm
Whenever
down. I'm down. I'm
All
ready,
right.
ready, Freddy.
Let's rip this shit in 3, 2, 1, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Shedtime. What is Shedtime, you ask? Well, it's code for the consumption of cannabis, but it's much more than that. Shedtime's a state of mind. It's art, it's music, it's cryptocurrency, technology, it's food, it's vaping. It can be whatever you want it to be, as long as you're not letting the bastards get you down, not being a dick, and making it fun. When you're in the shed, it's whatever your mind allows you to create. So now let's get to the Shedtime podcast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is another fantastic shed time day. It's been a bong hit day for you, boy. I just something got up me, and I was like, I need bong hits today. So I've been taking bong hits, and I'm pretty goddamn fried, if I do say so myself. So that's a good way to start the day. Makes me happy. You know what else makes me happy? Did you guys hear about this UFO hearing that went down in Congress this week?
I've heard little things about it, but I haven't really looked into it. I did see that Tom DeLonge was like at a show on stage, and before he started playing his song, he's like, yeah, I was right about UFOs or some shit. Like, 'cause we talked about that.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah. I mean, for those who are less familiar with Blink 182, they had a song called Aliens Exist, which, even back then was Tom DeLonge expressing his deep love for UFOlogy. But yeah, I pulled up an article here from what is this? NBC News. Five most memorable moments from the Congress UFO hearing that went down, and it's pretty cool, interesting stuff, man. Um, so
Well,
yeah,
wasn't there like a dude that basically came in and he like testified and like he worked for like the CIA or some shit and like kind of like whistle blew, but not really. Like
so
I don't
yeah,
even know if that's called whistleblowing, but
we've
we
had
had
multiple
a
recently.
we had an actual outright whistleblower come on out and talk about it. But they are saying that the government is absolutely in possession of unidentified aerial phenomena. David Grush, a former U.S. intelligence official, told the panel that he is absolutely certain that the federal government is in possession of UAPs, citing interviews he conducted with 40 witnesses over a 4-year period. The former U.S. intelligence official said he led Defense Department efforts to analyze reported UAP sightings and was informed of a multi-decade Pentagon program that endeavored to collect and reconstruct these crashed vehicles. Um, Also said in this hearing was that non-human biologics were found at crash sites. Grush, who underscored that he has not personally spotted a UAP, told the panel that he knows of multiple colleagues who were injured by UAPs. He also said he has interviewed individuals who have recovered non-human biologics from these crashed sites. Grush said he prefers to use the term non-human rather than alien or extraterrestrial. Officials must establish a safe and transparent reporting process. Some lawmakers and witnesses pushed the federal government to establish clear channels to communicate this information with both the public and the military, and said the military should establish a comprehensive reporting process for these unidentified object sightings. Um, what else we got in here? The stigma associated with sightings still silences possible witnesses, which that's no surprise. Um, This is UFO spotted accelerating to supersonic speeds. David Fravor, former Navy commander, said he and 3 fellow military pilots spotted a white tic tac shaped object in 2004, hovering below their jets and just above the Pacific Ocean. As he descended to inspect the sighting, he claimed the unidentified aircraft, which he said bore no visible rotors, wings, or exhaust, began to ascend and approach his fighter jet. He claimed that the UAP then vanished, only to reappear a few seconds later, but this time it was spotted 60 miles away.
Within that too, a little bit more into that, like it ended up showing up at their tack point, which is their point of return. Like, so somehow it knew where they were going to be going and was there and pretty much was there to meet them, sort of thing.
He told the committee too that the technology he and his team encountered defies logical explanation. It was far too superior to anything that we have, and there's nothing that we can do about it. So yeah, very interesting bit of news going on right now at that. I don't know if I'd call that like, getting closer to openly talking about what the government has or knows. But I think it's interesting that we have more people stepping forward, claiming to have these experiences and had interactions with people who've had this experience. It begs the question, how much of this do you think is utter just craziness, and how much do you think is these people legitimately have these experiences?
Dude, what I think is like honestly, like it seems kind of crazy that like these people haven't come out in the past, but maybe they were silenced in the past, and like right now is just like the perfect like amount of everything that's going on that they're like, oh, people probably won't even believe these people, or like it'll get blown away by something else that might happen, and like maybe now it is the time for us to be like, oh well, just let some shit slide. People probably won't take it very seriously, and then we'll just keep on moving, you know? Because like if you think about it, right? If this has been going on for that long, you're telling me that there wasn't somebody disgruntled, there wasn't somebody that was like, I know that they told me that they'd kill my family and they'd kill me if I ever said anything. There's people that don't care about that shit. They'd be like, I want to be the fucking hero. I want to be the person to let the world know. And so like that would not affect them. So like
there's that
does make
one
me
guy
think that
did come out way back, Bob Lazar, who claimed to
Yes.
work on Area 51 and has seen some of these vehicles or UAPs or whatever they're calling them now.
Yeah, Bob Lazar says that his job was to be a reverse engineer on these vehicles. And what I think is interesting is that we have every so many years just a couple new people step out of the shadows and say, "Hey, I have some experience too." So it's interesting. Like some of these people I'm very inclined to want to believe, right? Like these guys from the Navy, I want to believe their story all day. Like they have no reason to fabricate this and be like, I don't know what the fuck that was. That's like, to me, that's the big thing. Like when people want to doubt uh, a UFO researcher, okay, fine. I will let you doubt those people. But when you start talking about members of the military, people who like are trained to handle all sorts of flying vehicles, like in that situation, in that story, and they don't recognize any of this technology that they're being confronted with, I think that's goddamn believable.
Oh yeah,
well, it
and
definitely gives them more credibility. That's for sure.
my whole thought too is like kind of like back to what Chris is saying is like, why hasn't anybody come out before and like really, well, even though there have been a few that have, but why now all of a sudden are they coming out as like from Congress themselves, even dropping this on us? But that kind of just makes me think too, all right, why are they letting us know this, and what are they trying to like distract us from? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, let's drop this on them so they don't realize that this is going on too, or whatever, you know.
Oh, I'm glad you say that because there's an interesting story that I picked up on that I haven't seen in any of the major news, which is that RFK was denied Secret Service coverage, even though it is customary to extend Secret Service coverage to all candidates running for president.
Interesting.
So yeah, that one's interesting, and it's something I hadn't heard much about. So there's that. I also think there's this huge story going around the environmentalist circle that they probably want to be quiet, which is the fact that at the tip of Florida, the actual ocean temperature has broke 100 degrees and is literally killing off the coral.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like these temperatures we've been seeing are
Well,
insane.
I seen something. I don't know how true it is. It's on hearsay, but saw this thing earlier that said that this past month has been the hottest month in record. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, in some places, absolutely.
Since it's like been started to be recorded.
I know they were saying Arizona specifically has seen absolute record-breaking heat, the likes of which has not been seen before.
There's a couple days here where it was like 106, 107, like 3 or 4 days in a row.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So I know there's that, but there is the other news story that like I've been following like crazy lately. Um, this is our current day serial killer story. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, dude. So, in New York in 2010, they were searching for a missing young woman, expecting her to be dead. They were searching these beaches and marshes along the Long Island area, and they came across a body covered in burlap, and it didn't turn out to be the person they were looking for. And not too far from that body was another body, also wrapped in burlap, also not the person they were looking for. Um, they ended up with four women that they found in these marshes that were eventually dubbed the Gilgo Beach Four. And as they continued to investigate this beach, they found several bodies. I think it totals like 11
Holy fuck.
up and down the length of this beach. So this has been an unsolved case since 2010. And through a bunch of changes in leadership in the police department in New York, the case got some new life and they started to zero in on a suspect. And they've actually apprehended this suspect because they were able to link him with DNA evidence from the crime scene and his home. So now a super prominent architect from New York who has worked on countless major buildings and jobs throughout the city is currently in jail for the killing of several sex workers in New York.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, and this is like the first major serial killer story we've had probably since maybe the 90s.
Oh man, that's just terrible, man. And you know what I still
I'll
don't
never
understand,
understand
bro?
it.
Yeah, I don't understand it in itself, but I also don't understand the people that are fascinated by it. You know what I mean? The people like people that get into like the serial killer shows and documentaries and like all that stuff. And just like, dude, I watch them and it just makes my skin crawl. And I'm just like, why am I watching this horrible shit?
See, I'm one of those people who's fascinated by that shit. And for me, it's like I want to understand what makes an otherwise seemingly normal person do such evil things.
Well, I think that is like what it is for a lot of people. A lot of people like number one, a lot of people are just they're interested in what it is, and then they're also probably like curious as to how these people don't get caught. Like that's for me, I don't care. Like I'm not really curious as to like why these are doing these things, because like that obviously happens and like whatever reason, right? It's like why people are abusive or whatever else. It's just that next extreme, right? Because like I don't understand people that beat up their spouse. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me.
Agree.
But like murdering people is obviously like way way down the line. Like they're both horrible acts, right? But one is like I feel like you have to be a whole new level of person in order, like there's a difference between like backhanding a woman, or like if you're a woman, like hitting your husband with a bat when he comes in the door. Like that's different than planning murders, planting people, doing it number of times. Like that is like a totally new beast. And I don't know if I need to know why they're that way, but I guess there is a certain element of curiosity as to
How they get
why.
away with it. And yeah.
Yeah, like why they do it,
Yeah, I
how they
get
get
that
away with
aspect
it.
of it, dude. But
Maybe not like what in their childhood made them be that way. Like I don't know if I
Well, and
necessarily
that's
need
what
to know
makes it
that
so
much.
interesting, right? Is like you talk about how like the act of murder, but the thing is like I'm not in the least bit curious about gang violence, right? Like I get it, like gang violence is gang violence. I'm whatever, like that wouldn't be an interesting documentary subject, let's say, or newsworthy subject for me to be like, oh, that piques my interest. I want to continue to follow that. But yeah, it's it's the fact that like to make someone a serial killer, there is a defined pattern. So it's like maybe in this killer's case, it's young, petite, blonde women or brunette women or something like that, right? Um, that's the thing that I find so intriguing is the patterns, right? Um, one of my most interesting ones that I've always found intriguing was the Zodiac killer. This is a dude who targeted couples in isolated places. That was his modus operandi. But he was so good at getting away with it that he taunted the goddamn media and the police with cryptic ciphers that to this day some people still haven't cracked. So like this guy's clearly a genius level mind, but for evil, not for good. That's crazy. And I love to understand why. Like he's probably dead now. Well, we'll never fully know the truth of who the real Zodiac killer was. It'll be an unsolved mystery for the rest of our lives.
So Sean, I'm assuming you've seen that movie then?
The dramatized one, no, I don't think I have.
Yep. What? You haven't
No,
seen it?
no.
Really?
I've watched countless
Okay.
documentaries on it, but not like I don't like dramatizations like that. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so I've not watched like a bunch of documentaries. To be honest with you, I'm not even entirely sure like how much thought I'd ever put into the Zodiac killer, right? But I remember watching that movie because that movie's got to be like 10 years old now, right?
yeah,
It's got
something like
Jake
that.
Gyllenhaal in it.
Probably
Jake
15
Gyllenhaal's a
or
good
more now,
actor.
really.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because he could have been in his like early 30s, right?
I mean,
Late
I'm
20s when he
just
did that
I'm
movie.
just thinking. I think that movie was out before I started dating my wife, and she and I have been
Yeah.
together for
Well, we're
like
the
10
same age,
years.
so that's why like I feel like he probably was in his late 20s for sure, maybe even early 30s. So maybe it's like 10 years ago.
Uh,
Anyways,
it was
it was like
2007.
so that was what 16 years ago. Okay. Okay. So yeah, he was late 20s. He would have been like 27ish when that movie came out. But like you're right when you said that people like that are clearly they're on like that tier above even the extraordinary. Like they're beyond extraordinary, right? Like because I don't know what levels there are. There'd be like average, above average, extraordinary, maybe, and then there's like the Zodiac killer. Like someone that can do these kinds of like horrible things for decades, put it out there, almost broadcast to some level like what he's been doing or what he's done, and then not get caught. But like, why? Like, why are you doing this? Like, why don't you put these powers to good? Like, that's the part I don't understand. Like, if you have that like level of like intellect and like you can think that rationally, like, shouldn't you be able to like realize that you're just playing a game with people's lives? Like, and that's
I
too
think that's
far.
part of it too.
You know what I mean? Like, that seems whoa.
I feel like that's like, even though like I don't necessarily get why people are so like I guess my thing is like the infatuation with them, because like some people like there's like an extreme where like they're like into it, you know what I mean, compared to like the curiosity I get 100% like on your side, Sean, where it's like you're just kind of curious to like why their mind works the way they work, where it's some people are just like into it, you know
Yeah,
what
I
I
mean, if
mean?
you're hanging Jeffrey Dahmer posters on your wall,
That's what I'm saying, dude.
psychologist.
Like that shit's like that's what like kind of creeps me out. But dude, I think that that's part of like what Chris is saying, like them playing with people and like their family and friends and that like the whole game of it. And I feel like that's probably a big aspect of it, is like they're literally playing it, like to them it is a game in some aspects for certain people.
Some
And
some
just
of them
like,
absolutely.
and it's dude, then that's what it's just like
That's the thing that scares me.
yeah, it's just like the thing. I can't even like put it into words, like literally what I'm thinking. It's just like the whole thought process of taking somebody's life and playing with it as if it is just like some game and there's no consequences to it. It's just, oh, this is, I get enjoyment out of doing this and that, and getting away with, well, and knowing there is consequences, but then I could see like getting away with it for as long as some do. Like, dude, that's,
even if you know that there is no way out, to some it's just a game. I know, like, I've fallen deep down a rabbit hole the last few days of stuff to do with the game Doom. And like, I mean, I grew up playing that game when I was a kid. And I remember the big controversies when, politicians and people were like, these violent games are going to ruin children's lives and create more violence. And my being like, I've played those games and like, I don't understand how someone's going to destroy demons in this game and think like, oh, I can just go out and kill people. But here I am going down this rabbit hole, and I find out that not only did the kids who were that did the Columbine massacre have a heavy fascination with Doom, but one of those kids had a lot of homemade maps, and he actually trained for that by using a map he made for Doom. And that's fucking horrifying, because that's literally what you're talking about. Like, somebody who's literally looking at it in the life of as real life as a game, to the point that he was quoted as saying that he was going to imagine all of the people in the school as though they were monsters from the game. And that is horrifying. Like, that is literally somebody just playing games with human lives, and it's disgusting.
Whoa, dude, I sorry, my bad. Am I like really loud right now?
You just leveled back out.
Okay, because no, I found just because I got high, right? And I was like, yo, where else could you have put that cable for that microphone, dude? You need to find that microphone cable. And it was like, oh, you never looked in your backpack. So I went into my backpack and I found it, and it's there. So yeah, I don't know if I sound better or worse. Hopefully I sound better.
Sounding crispy
I can
now.
make it even closer, I guess. All right, that's all that matters. My bad. People playing with people's lives is horrible. There's no doubt.
It's terrifying.
Like, I don't understand it. You know what I mean? I don't even really like playing big pranks, because I gotta feel bad for people. I'm like a reasonable prank, okay. But you know what I mean? Like, when you see some people just get really pranked and you're like, yo, that might have been too far. Like, that might have been too far for that person.
I'm a strict believer with you on that one. Like, I don't want them shits pulled on me, so I'm certainly not pulling them shits on anybody else.
Did my microphone? Oh no, it's working again. Okay, cool. Dude, this thing's so frustrating. It's been pissing me off today. Anyways,
Technical difficulties. But yeah, let's shift gears to a more happy topic now that we've talked about fucked up.
Yeah, I'm
crazy
down for more
shit.
happy.
Yeah,
I'm down
dude.
for more happy.
Yeah, man. Aliens are probably the highlight of all of that. So shout out to the
yeah, I like how we went from aliens to serial killers real quick. That's crazy.
Yeah, and hopefully the aliens won't be serial killers because I'm trying to get off this planet and join them and live some whole new enlightened type of life on a whole new magical
Well, they
planet.
could be serial abductors though, so you have to remember that.
Dude, here's the crazy thing. Like, kind of going off the alien technology side of things. You think about what things we may have access to, or like, I guess the government may have access to. Like, what kind of technology do you think? Like, let's just like be, you know what I mean, kind of conspiracy theorists.
Hey,
What kind of things do you think they might have at their disposal that we don't necessarily know about? This is
Well,
all just guesses, you
if,
know
if
what
we're
I mean?
speculating here like this,
Speculation, full speculation here.
I'm going with this one because I've read it in a few places that alleged whistleblowers say that we have actual Stargate technology.
Have you heard what's
So,
going down in Antarctica?
I've heard of some things. I'm not sure what you're
Okay,
referencing.
all right. I don't have the article pulled up, so this is just off the top of my head. But apparently, there's a grid out in Antarctica, and like on like the ice cap, right? That is pretty much the largest telescope known to man. Not only can it like receive, but it can also transmit.
Yes. I just quickly Googled it to see what exactly you're talking about, and I have read of this telescope, and then I guess so. The real interesting thing is that when we get into the conspiracy of this, there's a lot of belief that this telescope has the power to do weather manipulation because of the amount of energy that it can transmit.
There's this was supposedly saying that it's an actual like world weapon, or I forgot what term they use, but it's some sort of weapon is what they're claiming. But dude, like it's just like, yeah, dude, and that, now think about this, bro. Think about, okay, if they have all these things, you know, like think about like all the things that could be happening underwater that we don't know about. You know what I mean? That they could know about that, you know, because there is claims that not only do these UAPs fly through the air, but they do also go underwater and completely submersible. So, dude.
Well, I mean, just for fun, there's apparently a lot of discussion of underwater alien bases throughout the internet. But I think it makes a lot of sense when you think about the fact that that is one of the places that we know the least amount about on our entire planet is what's underwater. I love that there is a theory that we're getting into hollow earth too. Okay. So part of the theory is that the entrance to the hollow earth is underwater and that is where these alien races are living. They use their submersible vehicles. They get into this hollow earth entrance and that's where they reside.
Well, dude, there's this like ginormous like opening in the earth somewhere, and I'm not sure, some sort of rainforest, maybe Brazil or something like that, where like literally you go inside and it has its own ecosystem within the earth. You know what I mean? So
Dude, that makes
I
sense,
could
though,
believe
doesn't
it, bro. You know what I mean? Like, dude,
Yeah.
it makes me kind of think it like, have you guys seen like the latest Godzilla movie?
No.
No.
Well, there, like, it kind of goes to your point of like the center of the earth thing and the entrance being underwater, because there's this scene. Spoiler alert: if anybody hasn't seen it yet, if you haven't, it's been out for years, so whatever. But there's this point where Godzilla,
That's on you.
they drop like a fucking nuke or something on him to try to take him out, but then come to find out they actually need Godzilla to take out the big fucking boss guy, right? So in order to find them, they fucking take this submarine that ends up going through this like sort of like whirlpool system where they get sucked down into this underwater tunnel that takes them to like the center of the earth sort of situation where Godzilla is like sitting next to the core of the planet, absorbing like the radiation to, heal itself. And then they end up actually going in there and dropping another nuke or some shit to heal him. I forgot what exactly it is. But anyways, it's like literally that thing where there's like a passage through like these fucking water streams to get to the center of the earth, where like there's this whole civilization that existed down there and crazy shit.
I mean, I personally would love the idea, like if we ever proved there was a whole other civilization of being living inside of a hollow earth. It just it conjures those movies and television shows from like the 90s and stuff when we were all growing up, right?
Well,
like,
dude, it's not only that, but think about like all the like the myths and stories that we have from back in the day of these creatures that existed, mermaids and elves and,
right?
dwarves and all these other sorts of, Middle Earth type beings, as well as, like fucking whatever else that existed. Maybe that's what these things are. And over time, they have just, become more secluded because of the advancements we've made. Who knows, dude? Who knows?
Dude, or it's like the other way, and they just started like joining other societies and losing those things that made them the way they were.
See,
Because like imagine that it's just this. It's like, people talk about dwarves and everything else. There was like dwarf warriors and shit. Just one sec. Well, maybe I'll see if the dog can be quiet for a second. And there was like dwarf warriors and like all these different things, but like they're just smaller tribes of people that weren't actually necessarily dwarves, but like
I know
there are dwarves.
that probably wasn't the
of, like,
best
people telling the
example.
story.
I just said
No,
that because
no,
it
no,
popped
but-
into my head.
No, but dude, even just the way that you said it though, like it's true. I don't not believe that those things could be real. Like there could be elves and like these other things. Like maybe not right now, but in the history of the world, why not? Like maybe they're not, 4 inches tall, but
okay, so
like evolution happens for everything, right?
let me hit you with this theory then, all right, if we're gonna go there.
Sorry, I believe in evolution.
What if all of those things still exist even to this day? The difference is, in more of a medieval time period, these were people whose world was centered around the ideas of magic, whereas now we are a people centered around the ideas of science. And so as a result, we no longer allow ourselves to see these beings, but they still exist. They just operate at a frequency that we no longer operate on.
I mean, you could be right, but I kind of want to believe that they live in the exact same world that I'd live in. It's just
They
a
do.
completely different time.
I
No, they could have. That's what I believe, right? Like I don't believe that, like, because man, if you were talking about, I would believe in a mermaid still existing over like an elf or like whatever, you know what I mean?
I'm imagining.
I don't know why.
Well, it's
'Cause
like
we
this,
just
right?
don't know that much. There's people all over the world, man. So many people all over the world. Like, I know that the whole world hasn't been explored, but what are the chances that the only places that humans haven't explored, there's been these other life forms, whatever you want to call them?
I mean, my theory is that because everything is energy, there are elves sitting right next to you. and fairies and all of that. And because we just operate on a different vibrational plane, we don't get to interact with them anymore.
I'm about to get on a different vibrational plane right now, bro, because I just smelled this here cold cure. You like that? You like that fucking what's the word for it?
It's a good segue, yes.
Segue. That's the word.
I do like that segue.
Little black diamond, bro. I've been kind of spoiling myself lately with the cold cures.
As you should.
They're a little bit pricey, but man, are they tasty.
I mean,
and dude, they get your rip too.
Rosin is worth the price. I've been researching the cost of getting myself a home rosin press so that I can press my grows. Because yeah.
Dude, is that what Ryan has? Or does Will have one?
Will has one.
Will has the big one.
Ryan's got a small,
like the little.
Yeah, Ryan's got that
one?
little small handheld one.
It's almost like a flat iron for your hair. That's where the original idea came from, because people were doing that, getting parchment paper and a flat iron they stole from their girlfriend or their fucking sister and putting nugs in the parchment paper and squeezing them to get the oils out.
Well, shit. I mean, even before that, I've known people doing it with just an actual iron and the ironing board, which it's another like whole other risk because it wasn't nearly as controllable as their sister's fucking hair straightener.
It also reminds me of knife hits.
I mean, let's be real. It's still a viable way to make hash. I mean, when I was a kid, that was the first way I learned to make hash with my keef, was to just put it in the parchment and then use either an actual iron or a hair straightener and press it, flip it until we expressed some of the oils and we had something that was malleable. So, I mean, it's still viable. I don't recommend it, but it can be done.
This is true.
I just figure, first round of growing, it's not the best weed, but it definitely gets you high and it's super sticky. So I figure if I can press it and it comes out with some decent rosins, I at least got something good to work with.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Why not?
So I figure it's worth a shot. And then worst case scenario, I'll take whatever's left and I'll turn it into edibles, and then we know it'll work.
This is facts.
Because getting zooted off the edibles when you got a full friggin' jar, yeah. I think I'm gonna drop some diamonds here and join you on the old dabberoonie. I got this last big chunka, so I think it's gonna hurt. It'll be good.
Dude, get it India. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, dude, this stuff's tasty. That was a cloud. Oh yeah. I've been taking my dabs cooler and cooler as well, down to like 3 something. Or honestly, could have waited a little bit on this one. Warm still.
Yeah, I would have said something, but this dog's going crazy. Somebody came by here, so he's barking and barking and barking. I'm just trying to mute up when he's barking, because it would just blow my ears out.
Dude, I've just got quite the selection going on right now. Once again, I actually posted it in the Discord earlier and had a couple people wow. Variety's the spice of life, as Sean said in there.
Yeah, what was that final count?
23 or something like that. I know, it's ridiculous. I've got a problem.
It's definitely variety when you get that many.
And there's only 2 jars in there that are the same strain. A couple of them.
How many did you say?
20,
Sorry, I was
23.
23, dude. Whoa, you got fucking Jordan.
Yeah, dude.
Is that why you hit that number? You're I can just get Michael.
No, I just so happened to
Yeah,
end
don't
up
do
there.
the other number. The other number was like 45 or some shit when he came back. So don't get to that.
No. I think I just.
I mean, that'd be variety though. Damn.
The crazy part is
23's
too
got to be just mind blowing.
is there's mainly all different, but some of them do have like similar strings like within the crosses that they are. So it's like I get a slightly different effect from like each one. And then I've got like stuff from like all over, you know, the strain base, you know, from like full indica to hybrid to some sativa. And then it's just like I've got all the flavor ranges from super funky to hazy to fruity to, you know, just gassy, you know.
I know this. I've seen some dispensary menus with less selection of concentrates.
Yo, for real. I don't think that the dispensary I used to go to. Like I definitely don't think that they ever had 23 different strains.
And there's
of
different styles
concentrates.
too. Like I've got
Like they had tons of
rosins.
weed, like buds, flower, but not that. That's crazy. That's awesome.
And
California,
I
right
covered
there.
all my bases too because I've got some sauce, I've got some rosin, I've got some diamonds, I've got obviously some cold cure, I've got some like really nice, super fine hash that I can actually dab as well. Some batters, you know what I mean? Just like a little bit of everything. The only thing I skipped out on is I'm not a shatter guy anymore. Not a big guy on the crumbles or anything like that anymore. Usually stick with the live resin variations and rosins.
It's funny. I was just talking with a buddy of mine about shatter and how like I feel like the enthusiasts, like we're at that stage now. Like shatter is it's a non-starter. We're not interested. But I think it still exists, obviously, because there's still those like those newcomers into concentrate, and it's always going to be that like non-threatening first step to a lot of these.
Oh, is that why? Like you're not into it because you find that it's like not as strong, or like it
It's
doesn't hit you
it's
as hard, or
it's not
like,
as
what's
good
the
of a
reason?
product.
Yeah, it's not as quality of a product.
It's a much lower quality product. It is the
Is it
bottom
less
tier.
expensive?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yes.
I mean, my dispensaries out here, we were selling half grams of shatter for like $25.
That's what you can get a gram of it for out here.
I believe that.
Dude, I can get a gram of like legit stuff, like well in a cardo. I don't know. I guess it's not really the same thing.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, fuck.
The cardos,
Yeah, because I
like,
got 2 1-gram cardos. Like they're whatever they are. I don't even fucking know. I know what their indica is, and like I can't remember what flavors they are, or like what strains they're supposed to be, but there's definitely flavoring I feel like in them. Yeah, I got them for like 17.50 US, like per gram.
yeah, like you ain't, well, we aren't getting anything that cheap in mass. Although I will give
No, I'm pretty sure
some
you're not.
companies
Yeah.
credit. There's a company out here that just dropped, what was it? A 2-gram single cart, in another company that dropped a 1.5-gram disposable. So
Yeah, that's
know.
crazy. I would have thought that might have like, what's the legal amount that you're allowed to have?
5.
Like, I would have thought that that'd be getting close. 5 grams
Dude,
of concentrate?
for me, I can get up to 8 at a time.
Yeah, Massachusetts allows
Wow.
5 grams of concentrate a day.
But yeah, it's usually why I end up with so much because when I go, I just get the limit. Just because I'm like, well, shit, I'm here, might as well.
Okay, so here's a question. Does that mean that like you could drive home and go to another dispensary and get another 8 or 5? Or
Oh,
do you,
as
like
long
are
as
they
it's
really
not with
saying
it.
per day?
As long as it's probably not the same dispense.
Legally speaking,
Yeah, the same dispensary,
no.
no.
Legally, you're not supposed to, but you probably could get away with it if you went to like a different dispensary that's not like
Because like I
affiliated.
know that it's 100% illegal to have like the max, so like 5 or 8 grams in this instance, and then on your way home stop at another place, and then all of a sudden now you have 10 and fucking 16 grams.
I will
You
say
know what I
this:
mean? And, like, is that then legal?
I have allegedly done this.
You can't
at
confirm
some
or
point.
deny.
I can't confirm or deny, but there was a point, and like you could go to like LA and you can hit one shop, get your limit, drive down the street, go to the next shop, get your limit, drive down the next street, get your shop. I go to shop, get your limit, and like come home with like bags, bro.
What's the thing is like in most cases there is like Massachusetts specifically, they
If
are
you get
not,
caught, you're probably gonna get fucked. But like,
yeah, you're not allowed to track your customers like that in Massachusetts. So uh you you can technically get away with that. However, if you get caught, like James says, you're gonna get fucked.
like here, like if you go to the like a shop that's affiliated, like if their systems are like linked together, then obviously like when you go and you go to like check out, you're gonna pop up that like, oh, you were in here already today. At least it just
Yes.
may show you that like it was at a different location or whatever, but they'll probably be like, hey, well, looks like you already like came into one today. So I don't know. I don't know necessarily if they could turn you away or not. I've never done that though.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is like I know when I was at the dispensary, in order to properly enforce limits, because we started doing a program where you could get these half ounces for like $45. So people wanted to take advantage and get an ounce and max out for their. Oh, excuse me. Try that again. So people obviously wanted to max out, get their ounce for the day of flour. And so in order to make sure that they weren't double dipping that day, we instituted a bring back your receipt policy, where if you were returning same day, we needed to have your receipt because we could see that you had already been there by the ID scanner. The ID scanner, when you scan the person's ID, would let you know that somebody had been there within the last 8 hours. So at least at that rate, like we were able to make sure that if you had bought your ounce, then I'm sorry, we can't do anything about that. You're gonna have to, come back tomorrow. But if
So
you're
it wasn't like, how about this, Sean? I got a question. Sorry to cut you off, but I just needed to get this out. So does that mean, sorry, how does it come into play then? If like, let's say that I'm like, yo, okay, so I'm gonna fucking stop by the dispensary this morning. I'm just gonna grab a little bit of flour, whatever. So you go in and you like buy like, let's say you just bought a gram, enough to like, roll up a joint or just like hit some Dynavaps, whatever. And then later in that day, it's like, 6, 7 at night, and you're like, yo, I'm gonna go meet up with some friends. Like, can you go back and buy weed
yeah,
at the same dispensary?
yeah, you would just have to
You
bring
can't
your
hit
receipt.
that limit.
Exactly. Like you would just have to bring your receipt so that way, like we would be
So I
we
can bring
would
it
be
in and be
able
like,
to
oh,
know.
here, I bought a gram earlier. Like, so here you go.
Exactly.
Now you can look at
And
this.
that way we could be like, all right,
Okay.
so as long as we don't sell you another 27 grams, you're still inside your limit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's a weird thing because the state, depending on your POS systems and stuff, the state can see your transactions, and so they may be able to see that you've sold to the same customer. However, dispensaries may not be able to know that you were there on morning shift and then came back during afternoon and bought your limit both times. So that's the caveat, and that's the game and the responsibility of the establishment is they have to find a way to prevent that to stay compliant. Because if they ever get their systems audited and get caught, there's penalties for that.
Yeah, it'd be like, yo, why is this like John Carter dude just continually buying shit? Like you're just letting this guy, he bought 3 ounces on one day. Next day he bought a fucking QP all at your shop. Like, how's this even possible?
Right. Like if the state were to ever audit your finances and see that, well, you're going to answer for it. But on the flip of that, they may also see the guy like Fred. Shout out to our regular Fred. Fred would come in once in the morning sometimes and grab a pre-roll, and then once in the evening on the way home from work and grab a pre-roll. Pretty much every day. But the difference is when you saw his transactions, right? It'd be like Oh, $19, $19, $12, $19. You know what I mean? Like you
Dude, is
knew
that how much a joint costs? $19?
in some cases, yeah, like because of the taxes, if if you
Would it
bought a
be like some
16
crazy one?
if you bought a $16 pre-roll, which would be a top shelf pre-roll, that would be $19.20 after tax.
And okay, how much how many points or how much weed flour
That would be
is in
1
there?
gram.
So it'd be like a 1 gram joint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's at least it's a reasonable size joint. Okay, that's not as wild to me. It's
I
not as
mean,
wild.
thankfully, because
It's a lot of money to spend. $20 like in the morning, $20 at night. Like that's a lot, but
the prices have obviously dropped and everything now. So like $12 and $14 before tax is a pretty common price point we're seeing, at least in Massachusetts now, and even $10 joints are pretty common now. So you figure a $10 joint, that's $12 after tax. Your $10 are usually going to be your regs, they're going to be nothing special. But in some cases, they're going to get you where you're trying to go, and that's all that
what's
matters
like
to you.
the cheapest? What's the cheapest half quarter you can get?
Cheapest
Like more commonly.
cheapest eighths I've seen are typically like $25.
Okay, so would that be like the same kind of weed as like the reggae regs at
Yeah, it would
ten
be, it would
bucks?
be the like reggie regs with the $10 pre-roll.
It'd be like the shake of that, like
Yes.
regs.
Yes, exactly. You're a
Dude,
hundred
that's
percent.
so rough to look at it like that, but that's probably the way it
That's no,
is.
but that's exactly what it is because a lot of these
Okay.
companies, that's what they're doing. They're just using the shake and the trim for a lot of these pre-rolls. There are some mid and high tier companies that will actually use their buds, but a lot of like all right, if you buy from companies like AYR, Air Wellness, Sierra Naturals, some of the Cresco products, any Curaleaf brands. So that includes like Select and all that, Grassroots. They're using their trim and their shake for their pre rolls. You start to buy your like craft cannabis brands, they're usually using their actual buds in their pre rolls.
Yeah, it's like with anything, man. Like if you go to a store and you go buy the just like the cheap generic stuff, you're gonna get the mid-tiered sort of thing. But if you go and buy the brand that's little mom and pop or a little smaller but higher price, you're gonna get a better product. Because dude, I've had some really fucking solid pre-rolls, but then again, it's like you're getting three in a pack compared to a 5 pack, and they're only going to be like a half grammer, but it's all fucking legit flour. It's going to taste delicious and I'll get you lit, but it's not going to be like a gram joint, in a 3 pack
Of like a legit bud that
yeah.
you broke up.
And
Yeah,
honestly, most
yeah.
of the time, if you end up going with like some of the even more like the even the more step up, if you end up going with something that's infused, majority of the time they're not going to fuck around and infuse just some trim. They're normally going to actually put some flour in there. They're going to actually take the time to put a little bit of some oil and that sort of thing, unless
It depends on the company, really.
but that's what I was gonna say. But unless it's one of those like bigger like house brand sort of things, like Sean was saying. But like if you go for like more of those boutique ones, and you can normally tell, but just by the price. Not saying that a lot of time the price is gonna reflect exactly what you're gonna get, because there's some products out there that are their price is a little bit higher than what it should be for the product, but majority of the time you can tell. It's just a lot of times it is kind of trial and error. Try a few companies out, and then once you find a good one in one thing, majority of the time products across the board are going to be solid from that company. That's usually what I tend to find.
The thing that I think really
Is
does
there white
dictate.
label cannabis?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, big time, dude. There's a
all the
bunch of white
time,
label can yeah.
all the time, especially like in places like California and
It's a
Massachusetts now,
big
where
thing out
it's
here,
like
dude.
oversaturated. A lot of these guys have pounds and pounds and pounds of flour that they just can't sell it all under their own brand, so they'll white label package. When I was at the dispensary, companies were offering it to us. Like, yeah, you want a white label? so that you can already get your own brand on the shelf before you've even done it.
You can usually kind of tell which brands do it too, because they'll have a lot of the similar strains as another company.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And
And that's the thing I don't like, because it's like it's just more of the same, you know. Um,
but I'm not even saying necessarily that like a lot of these bigger companies are bad, because a lot of like there's some that I really enjoy, like West Coast Cures is like a really big company out here, very popular. They've got actually a pretty big social media presence even too, but they have a really solid product. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's part of the reason why they are as good as they are.
but they're
dude,
also not like a national
no,
brand yet.
they're like the obviously West Coast is the big thing. So
And
it's
that's
just
what I'm
like
saying.
if
Like,
they
think
started
about your
off,
national brands. They're
they
the ones that
probably,
are going to cut corners.
and it's like another company I really like out here is Bear Labs, and they actually have like two different companies. You know, they also have their sister company CES, and both their products are super solid from both companies. And that's kind of like another white label sort of thing, where it's like Bear Labs not only makes their stuff, but they also produce stuff for this CES company, which is kind of like, I think maybe like a step down from their normal Bear Labs products. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of
But they're
companies out
both
here do it
solid.
too. Like, uh, there's a group out here, Trade Routes. Love those guys. And not only do they run their own concentrates, but they will do concentrates for other people. And so you'll get like, uh, there's that company I really liked with all the runts crosses. They'll do runs with Trade Routes, and it'll be like a
Yeah.
collab project.
Bear Labs does that too with like different companies. Like they'll provide the flour and then they'll produce the fucking concentrate and put it out with like, Bear Labs powered by whatever,
Right.
dispensary provided the flour, or not dispensary, whatever grow up provided the flour for that specific run. And that's why I like them too, because they don't always have the same shit. It's always cycling because they're continuously getting new stuff, and like they always have, every now and then you can kind of get a favorite because it'll pop back up in the line because it's one of their original strains, or it's like they do another collab with that same company, and then all of a sudden you get another run of it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I started to notice is that, like, if you start to research who grows the products and who creates the products, you start to find out like why certain things get the values they value, right? Like, there's a there's a group out here, Bailey's Buds. It's literally a mother, a father, and a son tending to a little 20,000 square foot facility, and they're just doing it all themselves. And so it becomes a little more understanding why the price point for their product is a few dollars more than the competition, because it's such a small operation. Their cost to operate is higher right now. Um, and so like it's kind of cool because they also grow some mean award-winning bud. So the product speaks for itself. Um, but man, it's cool, and if that's what people are looking for, I say go learn a little bit about the farm or the lab or what have you that's making the product, and you're gonna find that, like, when you've got some people who are truly dedicated to the craft, you're gonna see some quality shit coming out of these people. I mean, meanwhile, if you got people who are just in it for the money, you
Honestly,
get
you
boof.
know what it reminds me of, Sean? Dude, it reminds me of like right when it like started to become legal in your state, like not too long after, because I feel like we kind of started this around the same time or a little bit before it going like recreational mass. How close was that? Am I pretty accurate in saying that?
2018. So yeah,
So it was pretty fresh. Like it was like a couple
yep,
years in, I
couple
guess, when we
years in.
started. And I remember one of the episodes we talked about how you're like, yo, like the one of the things about cannabis industry getting bigger and all this stuff was it was like making it almost impossible for the mom and pop shops to like get things going. And so just knowing that there's like like a family running a small outfit and doing like special like extra care kind of product is pretty dope, because like that's kind of what we were saying, man, that might die with the way that things are going.
Well,
I challenge anybody to go back and listen to that. That we definitely talked about.
we
that shit in
did.
an
I
episode.
remember
I'm
it.
not just
Yeah.
flashing
We
back.
did.
One of the cool things now too is people are actually like that are like wanting to start producing and stuff. We're actually searching out these people to produce their strains, or help them, or even help them start getting into stores and stuff like that, which is cool. You know what I mean? Like the community is actually starting to help boost up the smaller farms, and that's part of the reason why I tend to like go for like like more like, well, even though I'm sure Bear Labs and like those companies are kind of more mainstream, but like when I go for the flower, normally if I'm picking up flower, I normally look for like a smaller name, because you could tell just by like the flowers and like the packaging most of the time that, all right, this is probably gonna be some good shit. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's really cool that like even some of those people who have been in the underground community have made it into the industry in one way or another. We had mass medical strains on this show a while back, and Ocean Breeze cultivators picked up a ton of his genetics and started growing them. And his genetics are available now in the mass recreational and medical markets. So people are able to get his strains. I used to sell them in my dispensaries. So it's kind of cool that we can see this happen where like these small time growers who have just been putting in the work, breeding out some really cool genetics, their work is starting to get recognized within the legitimate industry. I don't know if it's working out financially for those people. Maybe one day we can get one of them on the show. We can ask, but I could say that at least their name is getting recognized inside that industry as having some fire genetics, as they deservedly should.
No, dude, that's cool. And man, that feels like forever ago that he was on the show.
I think
That's
it was
crazy.
forever ago, man.
No, like I guess it probably was. That was actually probably one of the most, for me, like one of the most cool episodes that we ever did. Like for me, we've done some like real bangers though. Like not to take away from anybody else we ever had on as guests or anything like that, but dude, just the fact that like he had a voice changer and like instantly it was like nothing.
That shit
Like
kind of
all
like,
of us were just talking to him, just like at first I was tripping,
yeah,
but I was like just like okay, well, I guess this is the way it's gonna be. I thought it was like just like a troll, like a joke. And then after like 5 minutes, I'm like, no, he's for real. He's gonna be talking this whole time with a voice changer. That's fucking actually legit. Like we're literally having this conversation. Like it was a trip for me.
yeah.
It just
Sometimes I forget about that one.
it reminds you of those all of those like going back to the true crime documentaries and stuff when you see those like undercover informants talking under the black. Oh man. Good
Yeah, man, it
times.
just like brings like a different vibe when someone and like they're just matter of fact, bro. It's like, yeah, I'm just using this. Never gets discussed, never knew. But like, I think that he did some level of podcast or some sort of like something previous, and I probably, if I'd have listened, he would have had the voice changer, and it would have been no big deal. I would have been expecting it. You know what I mean?
Well, I know that like he was really doing a lot of work to keep his personal identity private. So, you know, I respect that. You know, he didn't even want his,
No. For
you
dude,
know.
100%. But like,
So
he
I
just
love
brought
that.
so much like good to this to like me and like the experience of that episode.
And he kicked down
And
so much
that was
knowledge
like
too.
the amplified, like it just amplified it just a little bit more. The voice changer.
Yeah, it tripped me out for like the first like 5 to 10 minutes, and then after that, like I think I was just so stoned I forgot about it.
It's like, yeah, this dude just has a
Yeah, it
really
was just
deep
normal.
voice. It's cool. Whatever.
Yeah, dude.
Speaking of people with really deep voices, we got to reach back out to the homie from Deep MCs, Mr. Shepard. Talk about a deep, deep voice and see how he's doing. Maybe bring him back on the show, see what's new. They're reaching their 100th episode real soon. They may have
Nice.
even
Yo,
hit
for
it by the
real?
time that this episode drops. I'm not
So
exactly
didn't they
sure.
just like they just started like when they were on here?
They were like, I think
It was
maybe
like maybe like less than 10
20
episodes.
I don't think it was
Oh.
that few, but it was maybe like 20 around there or something. Yeah, they were still fairly
Damn.
fresh. I know.
That's fucking crazy though.
I know his partner released a book as one of the big highlights. He's had some really cool interviews that I've had the pleasure of watching and listening to. So like they've been doing some cool stuff over there, and I'm really proud of all the hard work that they've been doing. They even upgraded the camera game, so like they got like multiple camera angles and shit. I was like, oh, check y'all out. I like it.
Nice.
You know, um, it's kind of cool. Like there are certain podcasts. I know James and I have talked about this before, where like you just kind of have to watch them, and certain ones that like you can listen to, and like I always used to listen to their show, but every now and then I would throw it up on YouTube and I'd watch. And yeah, I hadn't watched in a while, and when I finally watched and saw some of the like visual changes they made to up that experience, I was like, that's dope. That's really dope. I dig that a lot. So yeah, go check out Deep MCs, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't checked them out. Deep, meaningful conversations. You never know what these fellas are going to talk about. Sort of like us, just always having some deep, meaningful conversations, and I love that shit. So shout out to them, and shout out to Berluminati. I was thinking about them the other day too, because
Are they still doing
hopefully
their
they're doing
thing,
well too,
or
man.
they haven't produced any new episodes. But somebody had commented on one of on the episode recently, and so it made me think about them. And I was like, yeah, man, that was such a fun episode, and they did such a fun show. And it's a shame that they got too busy in real life to be able to connect and continue the podcast. So if you guys are listening, I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope that maybe one day we'll get another Illuminati podcast episode.
yeah, dudes?
Yeah, that'd be dope. I'd be down. Honestly, and when I said before John Carter, I was not even implying him either. I was just thinking of isn't that what the guy's name was in Pocahontas?
I thought that was John Smith.
Oh, could be.
I feel like it was probably like
Could
a
be.
real generic name.
And then
Like
we
that.
have Jimmy Carter, who is the president, and also the rap name of an old friend of mine. That was always a weird thought, you know. He just
Jimmy
rapped as
Carter?
Jimmy Carter. Yeah. 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 Like,
I mean, it's pretty memorable.
but it's the thing, right? Like, I was taught you want to Google what you're gonna create your band or your rap name around, right? And that way you can see
You
how
can own
likely
that.
you're going to show up in that, right? Like if you name yourself Jimmy Carter, it's gonna be a little more difficult to show up
Yeah,
compared
it's
to the
not gonna be
actual
like, hey,
president.
look.
I mean, full disclosure.
Pretty sure there's enough stuff about the president.
Unless you spell it differently.
Well, that's gonna say full disclosure. He spelled Jimmy like Jimi Hendrix, Jimi, which helped us
okay.
to spread him out a little bit
That would
better.
have helped his algorithm for sure.
Yeah, but dude, like that kid was a riot. We did his first mixtape, and it was called Gringo Loco, and it had this whole like luchador theme going on in the art. And so to shoot a promo for it, we went onto the roofs, the rooftops in our downtown area in downtown Plymouth, and shot this whole promo of him in a cape, in a luchador mask, running across the rooftops, jumping over roofs and shit, fucking just to promote this video or to promote this album dropping. It was one of the craziest experiences I've had shooting.
Yo,
film
how
for
did it
people.
go?
Dude, it looked great, man.
How did
Like
nice.
it came
That's
out
fucking
cool.
dope.
But yeah, like I literally had to like, throw all my gear in a backpack, climb this wall of a garage to get up on the rooftops, and then jump the gap between two buildings to get to the next rooftop that we were going to, because that rooftop had like two levels. So that way he could run and then jump off the top level. And we could get this like sick shot with a freeze frame of him like in midair, and then he would land. And then of course the whole thing is set to like spaghetti western style music. So like it's
Okay.
it's so totally random, and it's all for this kid's mixtape. which was bananas. Like I shot a couple of music videos for that mixtape with them. Um, that was its own experience because during that time, one of the members of his rap group used to have dreadlocks, decided he was getting rid of his dreadlocks, so he cut his hair. And then specifically for the video, because they were playing corrupt politicians through the music video, he literally cut the horseshoe bald spot into his head, so it would be his real hair in the horseshoe. And we basically did this whole music video as though they're the politicians on the like the pulpit or whatever, talking, being typical politicians to the people. And then when you cut away, now they're like in this seedy hotel with a hooker doing like piles of blow and being just fucking raucous animals.
Dude, what the fuck?
We erect
I like that though.
we wrecked a budget hotel room to shoot that music video.
Hey,
Good times.
Guerrilla shoots, bro. That's how you do it.
That's it. And then the crazy part is that after we did that, we did a whole nother music video afterward, where we just basically ran around the streets at like 1 o'clock in the morning and just filmed a music video of these dudes rapping.
Dude, I was in a music video one time that was filmed in like this like fucking courtyard of an apartment complex in downtown LA that they like put like this makeshift curtain wall up to make it look like a club.
Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
I did a backflip in the video too.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it like make the video?
Apparently.
What was the fucking video, bro?
I don't remember what it is, dude. I just remember going down there, and that was the first time I ever went to Roscoe's too.
That's wild.
Yeah.
What? Okay, what's Roscoe's?
Well, Roscoe's chicken and waffles, bro.
Yeah, the fucking like epicenter of chicken and waffles.
I saw there's a professional basketball player too there that night, Matt Barnes.
Oh, dude, Matt Barnes. Yeah, I like that guy. He was pretty good.
He was with the Lakers at the time, I think.
Player.
But yeah,
It's funny. I've been in a couple music
James
videos.
doing backflips in music videos. Yeah, that's for real.
It was like a
Sean
super
made
underground
music videos.
super underground music video.
Like,
It's just like a
Like, how
friend
did
of
you
a
find out
friend.
about it?
It was like one of my friend's cousins, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna go to LA. My cousin's gonna like be shooting this music video. You want to go?" I'm like, "All right." I was like the only white kid there. I was just like hanging
Doing
out.
backflips too.
And I was just like an extra in the background or something, and I don't know. We were drinking and stuff too, and I was like, "Oh, I could do a backflip if someone like just like gives me a little push." You know what I mean? Where I just like they put.
What do you
their
mean
hand,
gives you a push?
they put their hand out and you step on their hand, and then you just fucking jump back and do a backflip, bro.
Oh, just with the so they're just pulling you up a little bit, and you're
Yeah, they just give you
off their
give you a
hands sort
little
of thing?
boost.
give him
Yeah,
a little like 10
Yeah,
fingers.
get that momentum going.
like because I could do it off of things, but there's nothing there that I could do it off of. So I was like, oh well, someone gives me a little boost, I can fucking lock one down real quick. I used to
did
be
you
pretty
stop
yeah. I did like 2, I think. Because the first one didn't look as
Take
good.
one. Fuck, we missed it.
The first one
It's
didn't
like,
look the first one didn't look as good. But yeah, I used to love doing like fucking flips and shit off of stuff, and I wanted to do parkour so bad, but it wasn't a thing at the time. You know what I mean? It's like that's what I would be doing if it was a thing. But by the time it was a thing, it was like, oh, I'm too old to be doing that shit. I'd hurt myself. It's like my friends.
I don't know, man. Well, you could do like maybe the whatever, not parkour necessarily, but it's like, what is that, the one where like they do the challenge and it goes right across country and people compete and it's like all the
Ninja
obstacles.
Warrior?
It's like, is that what it's called? America's Ninja Warrior?
Yeah. I wouldn't want to do
then
that though,
one.
dude. That's like work, dude. I just want to like do flips and shit off stuff.
Well, you could do that.
Yeah,
there.
I'd have to.
Uh,
That's not part of the challenge, though. Like, I'd be pretty much throwing the challenge just to go there and do flips off shit. Like, what's the point of doing that when I could just do that off random things? You know what I mean?
no, like I understand what you're saying. Those people make money though, so that's cool. I guess you know what?
I'm not.
If
I'm
you're like
not
really good
as
at
athletic
parkour and
as
you have videos,
I'm not
but
athletic as I was, dude. This is like teenage years when like my buddy had a trampoline in his backyard and we'd do flips on that and then do flips off his roof into his pool and all that kind of
yeah, you
shit.
just got to get back into it. You don't get to that point right away. It's like anything, right? It's like if I wanted to
Yeah.
go play hockey again, it's not like I'd be like, yo, yeah, I'll fucking sign up for hockey. I'll play 15 minutes of the first fucking game. No, dude, I wouldn't be able to play 15 minutes for the first year. Even snowboarding, man, I'm so out of snowboard shape. If I try to go snowboarding, I'd like try to do 1 10-minute hill and probably just get fucking iced by the end of it. My fucking legs would be on fire. Every single muscle in my legs would be on
Yeah.
fire.
I mean, I used to bike ride for hours as a kid. Now I go to the gym, I try to hit the bike, and it's like 10 minutes. My legs are just on fire. Don't use it, you lose it.
Dude, honestly, it's in so many instances that's so fucking true, man.
For real. It's like sometimes I like because I've been watching a lot of like old skate videos and like listen to like the Hawk vs. Wolf podcast with Tony Hawk and Jason Ellis. And I'm like, man, dude, I miss skating. You know what I mean? It wouldn't like I wouldn't mind getting like a board and just doing like some little flat ground stuff in the driveway. You know what I mean? But then I also think about it, I'm like, dude, my ankles ain't what they used to be, bro. Like, plus I've fucking torn all the ligaments in one of them already, so it's definitely not how it used to be. Like, dude,
Yeah, dude.
I
I
don't
have
know. Rolling an ankle now ain't like it was when I was like, 17, 18 years old.
I have an old school, like, single scoop cruiser board in my back trunk of my car, and I'll tell you what, I don't have the balance to stay standing on that board anymore.
Oh, I'm sure I could just cruise around. I've done like every now and then, like if there's a skateboard laying around somewhere, I'll get on there and give it a little kick push down the road. Oh, but you know what's kind of cool? Totally like off that, but still like on the whole transportation thing. My parents recently got some electric bikes to take with
Oh,
them
really?
when they go on like road trips and stuff, so they have something to get around on. And my dad got those electric bikes or whatever. So my dad just got like one of like the standard ones. It goes like 20 miles an hour, bro. I rode it up the street the other day. I was like, dude, this thing's pretty sick. Folds up all nice. And then my mom's got like a trike. So it's got like a basket on the back and stuff. So like she could put like her bag and whatever on that. That's a little bit, more sturdy and she could just like cruise. You know what I mean?
I mean, shit's a while, bro. My buddy's kid, they got him one of those electric scooters. I think does like up to 40 miles an hour.
Dude, some of them are quick, dude.
It's insane. Like, he brought it down here one of the last times they were up to visit, and he's like, "Yeah, just show Sean." And this
Dude,
kid's like whipping up and down the road. And I was like, "What the
I've
heck?"
kind of been thinking about getting like an electric motorcycle just to like get around town and go back and forth to work on.
Dude,
Since I
yeah,
work so close.
running an errand or like, yeah, a quick little
Just because
5
like
10 minute jaunt.
because with that, like, well, because it only takes me like 5-10 minutes to get to work. And if I can get one that can go up to like at least, 35, 40, you know what I mean? I don't know if I necessarily need a license for it or not. But if I do, I'll go get one. But dude, that'd be sick just to like rip from here to fucking work and back. Or just to like go on little rips around the fucking town right here.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit, I want to go make a quick
think
mobile
Dude, you could
run.
probably save the payment in gas like in the first year.
Well, that's
If
what
you
I'm
drove it to work,
saying.
like even let's just say you drove it to work over 100 times, 100 times even. It probably costs you what,
I've been thinking
$5
about
every day to
I
go.
might look into it.
Yeah, I don't know how much they are either. Are they like $1,500?
Yeah, well, even if it is,
$2
dude, like
grand?
that's something I could put a little bit of money away
No,
for
I'm
and
not.
get
I'm
real
just
quick.
curious. I have no idea.
I don't know. I've never really looked.
Dude, because you would save.
Should we Google it?
You would save at
Yeah,
the end.
I got
Yeah, why
I got
not?
a Google open right now.
All
So
right.
let's find
Sick.
out. So we're looking for an
Yeah, like because
electric
even if they're like $2 grand, right?
scooter.
I mean,
Well, I'm just gonna look for like an electric.
you're gonna save that $2 grand in a
I'm
couple
gonna say
years.
so So a little 50cc like fucking Vespa style scooter is under $1,000 on Amazon right now. 729.
Yeah, but we want an electric one. One
That's
that James can then
so like
charge.
that,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. Like I'm betting that we can come in just under $1,000 there too.
I feel like it's going to be more than a gas powered one. I feel that.
All right,
Whether or
yeah.
not I'm right,
All right,
I
you
don't
you're
know.
you're probably right because I'm looking at one right now, $1,500, fat tire electric scooter, 200-watt, 30-mile range, up to 30 miles per hour.
Is your work more than 15 miles away, James?
I don't think so.
I guess you could ultimately charge it at work while you're there. But 30 miles is not that far. Is there one that's like double that mileage, John?
There might be. I'm just
I wonder how much like the price goes up when you start getting into like the bigger batteries and whatnot and stuff like that. Because
like
that's got to be where all the money is.
if I get into electric bikes, now we're getting into things that are like anywhere between $400 and $600.
Are you still just looking on Amazon?
No, I'm just Googling real quick. So these are like the quick,
Oh,
like,
okay.
Google shopping options that they throw up. So here's electric bike for adults, which gets us into a little bit more like motorcycle shape and body. $2,000. I see a 2,000-watt electric motorcycle. So let's just click on this one because it actually looks cool. Now where's my screen share? Here we go. Share screen. Bam, let's share this guy right here. Yeah, there we go. Share, go. All right, so like little mini bike action right here.
Okay, there we go. Dude, that's
Oh,
exactly
okay. And
kind
how
of what
much
I
is
was looking
that?
for.
You know what I mean? And this guy's $2,000. Let's
And how
see.
fast does that go?
I'm trying to see if there's some like deep details.
I
Here we
feel
go.
like,
Here we
oh,
go.
is that a video
35.
of it?
35 mile an hour.
And how far will it go?
35 mile
35.
driving distance.
So it's only a touch more.
So you can only ride it for an hour.
But I mean that is impressive. Like it definitely looks like a street bike, just a little mini street bike. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it actually looks pretty clean.
Like, yeah,
I mean, like the mirrors, I would like definitely want to upgrade those mirrors. Like get them low or something, like below my hands or some shit. Those look kind of cheesy, but
like here we
aside
go with
from
the
that, I
old.
mean, that looked pretty cool.
This thing looks like the old school mopeds from when I was a kid. This guy over here, 14.
Dude, that one that's like the second from the left on the top, it
This
looks
guy
like an
here.
old, like, yeah, it looks like a real old motorcycle.
Yeah, a little bit. Now that you bring it
Not
up,
that one. The
The
one that's
Super e-bike.
the 2003 something.
the Mac Fox right here.
Yeah, click on it.
This guy.
Yeah, dude, that to me just looks like an old school like motorcycle from back in
Dude,
the
you know what
day.
also I've been thinking about getting to? Let me see if I can find it.
And like it actually looks kind of cool. Like I actually think that thing looked cool.
It's an interesting area to like shop, right? Because like electric scooters, you got a whole bunch of different options here. Like I said, these are the kind of jams we were talking about where like some of them do up to like 40 miles an hour. It's wild. You got the fat tire jam here with the seat.
Yeah, like I mean that thing looks weird, sort of. I don't know what I think about that, but dude, that little mini bike on the top left, that looks like pretty
This
cool
guy,
too.
yeah, this yeah, it
It
reminds me
looks
of the
cool.
ones that would have like a little lawnmower
Yeah,
engine.
like a little like 3.5 horsepower like lawnmower engine.
Yeah, just this one's going
You'd be like
electric.
putting around. No
That thing's
suspension.
sick for the parking lot when you're in the parking lot
Oh,
party.
there you go, dude. The Adventure X.
Yeah, look at
Fucking
that thing.
sidecar, bro.
That thing is
Dude,
pimping.
that is actually crazy.
We gotta open this
That's
whole
$8,000.
almost 8,900. But look at that
Dude,
thing.
that's crazy.
You're riding
Dude,
in
if
style.
that thing can't go far though, that sucks. If that's like another 30-mile limit,
It's
that's
on
crazy.
pre-order for 3 months too. So you got to put some money down and then wait. That's painful.
I'm gonna just throw it out there. It looks worth the wait to me.
We got the little Vespa Jam right here, 800-watt remote control. That concerns me. 800 watts, you ain't getting very far then. If 2,000 watts is getting you 35 miles, what's 800 getting? Not a lot. Oh, there you
No,
go. The
dude, that's
electric
probably like a
moped.
15-minute session.
Oh my God, the electric moped. See, that's the
I've
thing.
even
Like,
thought about getting one of those Groms too that Honda makes.
Yeah, those are actually pretty cool. Those are like also called pit bikes, right? Basically.
No, I think they're calling them like mini motos.
Oh, okay.
this dude looks pretty dope, though. Gonna open the window here and find out. It's coming from Walmart.com. All right. I'm not interested in
That's
cash
something.
back. Thanks, browser. But look at this thing. It actually doesn't look half bad.
Where's the fucking battery? The gas tank?
Maybe.
That are underneath.
See, like
Uh,
once again, the mirrors are horrendous on these bikes, but
yeah, it could totally be underneath.
oh, it could be a
But yeah, man, look at that,
dude.
2,200.
Look at that! Like, there's like a crotch rocket one too,
Like,
dude. Like that looks crazy. Think about what you could put in the middle. You could put like a cooler.
yeah, let's take a
Yeah,
look at
there's like
this
a
guy.
sport bike one there.
This has got to be a total mini bike, 36-volt
Oh
electric
yeah,
motorcycle.
super. That's for like a child for sure.
Yeah, that's got to be for kids, man. That sounds really small.
It looks cool though,
It does look cool.
dude. Those pocket bikes were crazy though. My buddy had one, and like his was fucking crazy fast.
Yeah, I used to see people whip those things around town when I was younger, and man, that shit's scary too, because like you are close to the ground. Yeah,
Dude, you're like right down there, and like dude was like 5'11", and he was like pretty thin. And so like he probably only weighed like 135 pounds, something like that. And like, dude, this bike would probably do like 55 miles an hour easy all day.
this thing
And
does
he would be
28.
sitting like maybe 16 inches, 18 inches tops off the ground.
So
So his legs would be like way out the fucking side. You'd be like, just see like this fucking leg just
we
just
definitely
ripping.
can't use this guy. It's only 28 miles per hour, and depending on weight, depends on your distance, which is a good point that I didn't think about too.
Yeah, like the heavier you are, the less you're gonna be able to go.
There are some pretty cool ones out there, but you're
Which
right.
does make sense, right?
Yeah,
Those mirrors are horrendous.
I'm looking at like a list of like the top, 15, and dude, some of these are like they're more like legit motorcycles compared to motorized bicycles, and some of them are crazy priced.
Well, yeah, I mean, at that rate, you're basically buying a real motorcycle.
Yeah, it's nutty.
But it's electric. I mean,
Oogie,
I
oogie,
guess.
oogie.
Well, it just depends, right? I guess like because dude, electric vehicles they're not cheap. They're not like you get like a fully electric subcompact car, it's way more expensive than the one that's just a gasoline subcompact car.
Yeah, I'm looking at this one right now. An electric street legal sport bike, and it's $12,000. That's crazy. But I mean, again, not surprised. I think it'll be interesting when we get automotive power beyond like battery powers. Like the
Oh,
day
like
that we
hydrogen or some
yeah, the
shit.
day that we can get to like a hydrogen cell or something like that, where like we have like maybe a mini power plant that's on board powering vehicles. It's gonna
Well,
be
think
all
about it,
over the
right? So,
world.
like, even if you had an electric car, right? If there was a way to charge those batteries while driving, you wouldn't have those issues. So, like, think about it like this, right? So in Canada, Tesla has like made this like promise that they're gonna ultimately you're gonna be able to drive like nationwide, and have enough charging stations, right? So like there'll be, so for example, like my drive from Ontario to here, right? It was 1,700 kilometers, so like over 1,000 miles. No electric car can do that even in 2 charges. So like they have to, have a lot of charging places along the way. And then it depends, like if you get to an actual Tesla station and you have a Tesla, you can charge it like pretty good in a short amount of time because they have like the capabilities and whatever to have like these superchargers kind of thing. But if you drive like a Nissan electric or a Ford electric or a Chevy like Bolt or something, you have to like go to like the schlep chargers unless the car company that you have has made a deal with Tesla that you can use the super Tesla chargers. So if you had the ability to be creating power while driving, and if that was like a hydrogen cell or some like a hydrogen motor that was charging your batteries, then ultimately like you would never have to stop until you got there. You'd never have to stop for fuel because you never have to stop to charge. You just get to drive.
The
And like
future,
honestly,
man.
dude, on my way here, right? Yeah, I was towing a trailer, but I stopped like 5 times for fuel. So that it in itself probably is like an average 15 minutes per stop. So you're talking about that's fucking an hour and 15 minutes that I wasted just stopping for fuel, getting off the highway, filling up with fuel, paying for the fuel. Some of it I utilized, right? I'd go to the washroom, I let the dog quickly go to the washroom, whatever. But that's a lot of stops. I could stop for the washroom twice, no problem in that amount of time. But if I didn't have to stop and I only had to stop once, then you could pick the perfect spot that you can literally get out, go to the washroom real quick, grab a bite to eat, let the dog go pee, get back in, and you're fucking stopped for 10 minutes one time.
Could be a beautiful
Although,
future.
well, it could be, but at the same time, like electric cars, to this point, I don't know any electric cars that aren't automatic. So fuck them. Like I hate
Well,
electric cars.
they they also probably haven't fully developed that towing power yet either, so there's that problem.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, I know that you can tow with them. My brother has like the Ford Lightning, like the Ford fully electric pickup truck,
Mm-hmm.
and he can tow, but I think that it's like it drastically lowers his
Yeah,
his like mileage, kilometers, like whatever, you know?
I was talking about this with one of my coworkers. Like, that's one of the big problems is that right now, like, you don't have the ability to make electric semis. The power is just not there to make it a viable solution. Like, we still need diesel fuel for that. So, like, this is where we need further advancement in the power station of vehicles, which brings us to a great way to bring this episode to the end and tie it up because that's probably some more of that alien technology that they're holding from us is the power to do those things.
Right.
Because there's too much money made in oil and current fossil fuels. So unfortunately, we can't use that technology yet. But with all of that,
Well, I'm sure that like we will eventually. We
Yeah.
should have an entire episode about like all that. I'm down to talk about that stuff. It's like all these conspiracies and like whatever. I'm down for that. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah,
John.
let's
My
let's
bad.
do that. Let's plan for that. So with all of that, let's bring it to a close like we always do, which means Uncle Chris is going to bring it and kick us to the start of bringing it home.
Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate you guys all for listening. I'm actually sitting in the dark right now, so I look like witness protection program. So for anybody that's a patron and has seen this video, my bad. I forgot that it was like so late in the day here, and it's actually pretty dark. But I'm now in like a new province. I'm going to be here for a minute. When I say that, like I don't know, I'm going to be here for a long time, I guess. So. I'm only slowly starting to get used to the fact that this is where I will be living, but at the same time, like I'm still looking for a home to live in. I'm just in my parents' cottage right now, which is it's nice, it's chill. There's a lot of people around here though, and the dog he goes crazy when he sees people. He's never it's something that me and him need to work on to make both of our lives better. But anyways, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that I got my microphone working. So hopefully it doesn't sound any different other than the fact that there might have been some birds and shit because I'm like out on a screen porch. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Of course, if you guys want, you can check us out on Friday nights on the Green Room, Frames, Janklin Vapors YouTube channel. Check out shedtimepodcast.com. Go to the Patreon. Hit it up. We got a Discord for that. I think that's everything. So everybody be safe, have a good week, and live your best life. Frames.
Absolutely. And as always, shout out to all the Shedheads for all you guys' continuous support. Make sure you guys go leave us those 5-star reviews on all those podcasting platforms. That helps us out. And the algorithm helps us pop up in those suggested tabs and whatnot. So let us know what you guys think as well by leaving maybe some comments and the such as. Make sure you guys check out the YouTube channel as well because there's the video aspect over there. But if you want to keep more up to date, you can check out the Patreon, like Chris said, because that's where you get the full, first dibs on the video as well as the Discord link and all that good stuff. And you can, of course, check us out on Friday on my YouTube channel for the Green Room if you want to see some more vape-oriented content as far as build-offs go, Shedhead sessions, and, all that sort of thing. Other than that, you can catch us here doing what we always do. So I'm going to end it as I always do, sending out positive vibes, Chris Pot Fives. And as always, a little dab or bag will do you. And don't forget to tell someone you love them. Sean.
Oh yeah, yep. And the boys just said it all, man. You know what? Green Room on the Friday nights over on the Frames Janklin Vapor channel. It's definitely worth checking out. Even if you're not a vapor, it's still a good show, and I think you still have a lot of fun. It's just like this, but just a little different. So go check it out. And shedtimepodcast.com. You can find the links for everything, the Patreon, the YouTube, it's all there. So with all of that, you know what I'm going to tell you. Don't let the best get you down. Be cool. Don't be a dick. And whatever it is you do, be sure and have some fun because it's the Shed Time Podcast and we about to roll on up and roll on out.
Dynavap, Dynavap, Dynavap. Looking to cut the cord on your dry herb vape? Dynavap. Trying to get the best taste from your herb? Dynavap. Ready to take your sesh to the next level? Then meet Dynavap, the best way to vape your flower or concentrate. Concentrates? That's right, your flower or hash can be vaped using Dynavap. Check out Dynavap.com to learn more. That's Dynavap.com. Lose the ash? Dynavap.
What's going on, Shedheads? It's your boy Frames Janklin. Are you looking to step up your match game or have a raw copper, brass, or stainless mod or RDA that you're absolutely tired of polishing? Then you need to go and hit up my man Ashton at Palmer's Powders. He does some absolutely amazing powder coating work. He offers many different colors and finishes at an absolutely killer price. This man is taking powder coating to a whole new level and he can make your setup an absolute masterpiece. You can go follow him over on Instagram at Palmer's Powders and you can go check out pricing on his website, palmerspowders.com. That's palmerspowders.com. And as always, let's just vape on, Shedheads.
I want you to think of your favorite rebuildable right now. Yeah, okay, so you have a layer cake in your hand, and now you're about... Oh, sorry, yeah, that's not everyone's favorite. That's just mine. So think of your favorite rebuildable atomizer. Think about how good of a vape it produces for you. Now, take that and amplify it. And the way that you amplify that is you put in some Breezestone coils. Breezestone coils are handcrafted in Adelaide, Australia. They're made from some of the finest quality wire that you can get. I believe it's wire Buddha. You take those coils, you take them out of that phenomenal packaging that clearly shows how much care that Adam puts on the quality of his coils and the insurance that you get them in good shape. You put them in that favorite RDA, and guess what? You have coils that now sing better than Celine Dion. Go check out Breezestone coils. You can find them on localvape.com and also steelvalleyvapors.com. Solid.
God damn it, I am really fucking high right now.
For reals, dude.
I'm actually I'm feeling all right now. I could have hit the cardio again, but I didn't.